Hey, oh, what's going on, everyone? Sim here with another Plat'n episode, and this one is for a long-time member of the community, Mullet345, an absolute veteran of the community, Hunter's Haven. Link in the description for the Discord. I've already flubbed. We're off to a great start. It's an average episode if Sim can't get through the first 4 seconds without making a mistake. But Mullet has been around in our community for about 3 years now, which is a very long time, and I'm massively appreciative of that. So we're going to dive into his list. He has a massive 325 platinum trophies, which is quite a lot. The first one being SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, 15 years ago, which is a long time in 2010, believe it or not. But let's get the ball rolling with the double stack of 36 Fragments of Midnight, which is an easy sort of tile sliding game where you can move through fairly simply. 3D dot game Heroes is next, followed by AAA Dynamic Scenes. I'm not entirely sure what this one is. I think Mullet's list is going to be one that I admittedly am not going to know some games on. From just talking to Mullet in the Discord and seeing his completions, I know there'll be a lot of JRPGs and stuff, which and sort of anime-based games, which if you've been watching these for a while, you know I don't know anything about those in the slightest. But we've got Abzu next, brilliant little underwater walking sim, I guess you would say, where you're sort of diving through various levels, followed by Adventure Capitalist, which is another fantastic game here where you sort of build up an empire. I love, again, as with last week, we've got some 100% to kickstart this list. You know, I love to see those. Akinofa is followed by Alex Kidd in Miracle World. We've even got the remaster of the game, which does include a platinum trophy here below. I think this is one that you can exploit. It looks like you might have potentially done that with the remaster of the game. I think you can make yourself invincible from memory. We then have Alice Gear Aegis CS, which you dabbled in a little bit last year, didn't really get too far. Amaze is next. This looks like a relatively sort of fun little puzzle game, followed by a double stack of Among Us. You got the DLC done. That is very nice to see. Arc of Alchemist is next. I'm assuming this is probably an RPG of some description, followed by Arcageddon, which is another one where I'm assuming you probably just have a little bit of the multiplayer boost left on this. Arcana Hearts 3 Love Max is followed by Ark Survival Evolved, which you did in 5 years. So I am curious, Mullet, did you do these ones legit, or did you use the console commands? Do let us know. We then have Asphalt Legends Unite, followed by what is Astro Miner? I assume Astro Miner is definitely not part of the Astro series. That really threw me for a loop there, because I do know that there is a VR title that is also an Astro's game. There is 3 titles in this series, but Astro Miner is definitely not one of them. But we have Astro Bot and Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom's at 100%. Bot, it looks like you don't have the recently released DLC trophies. Avoid Them is a breakthrough game. It looks like it's the only breakthrough game on the list, which is nice to see. The breakthrough series is fairly shovelware-y, sort of very easy, kind of just hit some buttons, get some trophies, as you can see by the 92.99% completion rate. Azure Lane Crosswave is next, followed by Baking Time. What are you baking, a Mullet? I want a cake. Balan Wonderworld is next. This is a very painful one to my understanding. I think this game was very, very buggy and just sort of not overly enjoyable. So it is cool to see that you did smash this one out a couple of years ago now. Bang On Balls Chronicles is next. I'm not even going to question what that game is about. Followed by B-Fence Be Mastered. Fair enough. Black Desert Online is next. This is a game that you have been working on as recently as 4 days ago. This is an online RPG. It's an interesting looking one. I do know that the Platinum is not relatively difficult, but it is very, very long at 550 hours there. Blaze Blue series is next, and it looks like you might have all of them, which is cool to see, because there is a couple of ultra rare Platinums in here. But we have Calamity Trigger, Centralification, Chrono Phantasma Extend, which is one that you don't have the 100% on. In fact, it's the only one in the series that you don't have the 100% on, so kudos there, mate. Continuum Shift Extend, and Cross Tag Battle. We then have Blocker Picks Deluxe. You've got the double stack, you've done the Vita version, however, you haven't fully gone back and cleaned up the PlayStation 4 version just yet. Blur in 2024, I'm going to bet all of my dollary dues that is the multiplayer that you've got done there. If it's not, I believe that the multiplayer is up at the moment, and I think, don't quote me on it because I'm not the most versed on PSMP anymore, but I think that the custom servers for Blur have been approved. I think I saw that in a post, so do look into that if that is the case, and see if that is one that you might potentially want to clean up, because Blur is an absolutely fantastic game. This was one I really enjoyed back in the day. We then have the Borderlands series here with the first game, the Platinum and 100% on two different stacks here for Borderlands 2, and then Borderlands the pre-sequel, which you've done most things on. I'm going to wager that you potentially have a little bit of the DLC and probably the different character-based trophies for this one. I think from memory, you've got to get pretty much all the characters into the mid-20s in terms of levels to do their trophies. So I'm going to assume that's probably some of what you've got left over. Another Breakthrough game, followed by Brawlhalla, which is at 0%. I'm curious, is this one you're potentially maybe starting soon? We then have Brightside Riddles and Puzzles, which is another puzzle game. That's another thing about Mullet that I've always really liked, just from seeing the latest completions in the Discord server, is Mullet likes his puzzle games. Which is another one of those niche genres, and it's probably one of my favorite things about doing this series is you see the style of games people really like to play. If you've ever watched any of my episodes, indie horror games, RPGs, CRPGs, things like that is very much mine. Last week we had quite a lot of 100% with the Bison's account, and Mullet will have quite a few puzzle games and even some racing games, as well as his RPGs and stuff, which is really, really cool. As well as some fun, probably Australian games here. I think, we'll see it soon, but I think from memory you have some cricket games. Just from seeing completions in the Discord server, I will be keeping an eye out for that. But we have Brink next. Brink was a game that existed. I remember the absolute hype behind Brink. I even bought into it to an extent, and then the game was garbage, but you smashed it out in 2 months, which is probably, I would say, the most impressive 100% so far, I think. Juicy little ultra rare right there. I would say that this is probably my favorite of the bunch so far. Bubble Riders is next, followed by Bubsy. We've got two Bubsy games here with Paws on Fire and Woolies Strike Back. As you can see, Mullet does enjoy a good completion, a good full 100%, which is something I love to see. And we've got quite a juicy batch here. We're going to ignore the fact that Mullet didn't do any Assassin's Creeds. Going to ignore that for my own sanity, for my own well-being. And we're just going to move on to Bucket Crusher here, followed by the 100% in Bug Snacks. Fantastic game, one I would highly, highly recommend. We then have Bunny Raiders. This is a free-to-play game. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know much about it. I just know that it is free-to-play and relatively quick. But I think people do actually enjoy that one quite a bit. I think that's a very popular game with a lot of the people that do the 10 plats in 10 days and stuff. I think Bunny Raiders is one that you tend to see on those sorts of lists. We then have Burger Break in 38 minutes, followed by Burly Minute C, which I think is a bit of a staple of this series. That game was free on PS Plus years ago now. I think it was PS Plus in around 2017. But definitely a staple there, because you get quite a lot of different platforms that you can play this one on. Burnout Paradise, I love to see this, and the remastered. There are some tricky trophies here, bit of boosting coordination needs doing with the 8-player trophies, so it is nice to see that you got both of these done, especially because the PS3 version is very unobtainable now. We then have Cars 2, in fact we've got 3 Cars games here, with Cars 2, Cars 3 and Race-O-Rama. I think Race-O-Rama's not particularly great, but I think the other two are actually really good from memory. Cat's Quest, we got the first 2 games. There was a recently released one. I really enjoyed Cat Quest. I've only played the first game myself, admittedly, but the overworld and just the sort of simplicity and charm to it is something that I really, really enjoyed with this series personally. We then have another breakthrough game here with Catch the Bowling Balls, followed by Chickens on the Road in a massive 5 minutes. We then have One Trophy in Clive and Wrench, followed by Costume Quest, a little bit of Crash Bandicoot, and a little bit of Chris Tales. Chris Tales being, I believe, a visual novel. I'm not 100% on that. Do let me know if I'm very, very wrong on that in the comments, of course. Crossy Road Battle is next. Crossy Road Castle is next, followed by Crowd City. We then have a little bit of Crisis here. The multiplayer is, of course, unobtainable in the 3rd game. I thought it was in the 2nd game too. But anyway, I assume you've probably gone through the story, gotten all the collectibles, and that's roughly what those percentages would net you there. We then have Crystar at 23%, followed by Cubic Lines, Cucumber. We got Cucumber here at 6 days, followed by Cyber Dimension Neptuna, which I think there is a series for Cyber Dimension. I think we've seen it on the Plat'n series a few times, so it is interesting to only see the one here. Followed by the game you're currently working on, which is Dan Markey Battle Chronicle. We then have a bit of Dark Source, followed by Daytona USA, which is another one. I think this is another one that was free on PS Plus at one point, and is a bit of a popular one to go through and complete. The Blog 2 is next, followed by The Exit, Death End Request. Only 1 trophy here. I'm curious if this is one you just didn't like. I assume that's probably what a lot of the incomplete games are, because you are very good at completing 100%. As you can see, we have some fairly impressive and difficult 100% in here, like Dirt 4, which is coming up. But we then have Demon Gaze series with Global Edition and Gaze 2, followed by Desert DIY and Dig Deep. Dirt 4, as I said, this is a really good completion here, followed by the Disney Classic games, which I believe you can use save states for to sort of get through these without too many issues at all. I think you can sort of save scum your way through, no dramas. Divine Knockout's a really cool one to see here. This is, of course, a Battle Royale game that had a very short lifespan and is now very, very dead. Donut Break is followed by Donut County, which is a really fun little sort of charming game where you're just a whole eating everything. I really enjoyed this one, followed by Doling's Arcade and Dr. Oil. Dragon Ball is next. We only have 2 completions of the 4 that are on here, with Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2 just kind of being dabbled in without the full 100% in either of these. However, you have completed Ultimate Tenkaichi, which is a massive ultra rare platinum trophy, followed by Raging Blast 2, again another really good 100% there. Dragon Quest Lego Builders is one that you've sort of played a little bit of. I actually think Dragon Quest Builders 2 is a lot better if this is a style of game you are still interested in. I think 2 very much improves on the first game quite a bit. We then have Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe and The Bright Below, which is one of the longest names ever, which I think is a very hack and slashy sort of one. I'm trying to think of what that Nintendo series is, that has, your big battlefields of characters all fighting and you're sort of playing as a hero character. It's that style of game, but I'm forgetting what the name of that series is off the top of my head. We then have Dragon Quest Echoes of an Elusive Age, which is one I really need to get round to. JRPGs are something that I've sort of never been too versed on. I didn't really grow up with anime and cartoons and stuff, so I sort of have always kind of missed it. I do want to get round to things like sort of dabbling in some of the more modern Final Fantasies. I've played the originals of them, funny enough, as well as geez, the names are now escaping me. There was another series I was going to say, Persona. I want to get around to playing some Persona at some point. But funny enough, Dragon Quest is the one series that I actually did really enjoy. I've played Dragon Quest 1, 2, 3, Dragon Quest Monster Hunter, I think, maybe not Hunter. I don't know. It was a weird like Pokemon clone one that was actually really, really fun. You played as a kid with white hair. I've played 6, I've played 7, I've played 9. I actually really liked Dragon Quest 9 on the Nintendo DS. I really, really enjoyed that one actually. That's the one where you create your own sort of party members and stuff. Really enjoyed that one. But yeah, I haven't played 11 yet. I think 10 is an MMO. I think it's a Japan exclusive MMO, which obviously means that I probably won't get a chance to play it at some point. But 9 is one I definitely need to do. It's one I should probably do a 100% review on it at some point, but that 120 hours for a 100% review is very, very daunting. We then have Dreamel's Dream Quest, followed by Dungeon Escape. We then have Dungeon Slime Collection, followed by Dusk Diver, none of these being particularly challenging platinums, however that all changes with Elemental Knights are at a juicy 8%. Endling Extinction Forever, you've only done 8 of 28 trophies, that's surprising to me. This is one I would highly, highly recommend. I love this game personally. This is one I would definitely say if there's anything I've seen on the list so far that I would suggest cleaning up, this is the one right here. We then have Epic Mickey to the power of 2, Juicy Ultra Rare at 1.48%. That's a really cool one to have there, Mullet. Followed by Evergate. Then we get a massive burst here of F1s. In fact, I've got to adjust it because the screen that I've got OBS on is a different size to the one that I've actually got the browser on. So I've always got to kind of keep in mind what you guys can actually see on the screen versus what I can see, because I can see a lot more. But we have a massive stack of F1 games here with 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I can count, guys. 21, 22, and 23. Of those, only 2 of them are at 100%, which is interesting. These are, I believe, very difficult 100%, and I think the other thing that makes them difficult is they like to shut down servers, as you can see by the couple of unobtainable ones that you see there. We then have Fairy Fencer F, followed by Fall Guys, and quite a stack of Fall Guys here. We've got the original version of the game in April of 2022, and then we have a couple of auto pops following that with the various different launches that were then released for the game. We then have Fast Riders, 17 minutes, followed by Fate Extella Link. Then we've got a bit of Fear European Truck Racing Championship, which is a truck racing game of all things. Philippix Phil's Epic Adventure is next, which you did in a year and a month, followed by a little bit of Final Fantasy here with the Zodiac Age for Final Fantasy 12, which is kind of the remastery remake thing for that one. And then Final Fantasy 13 2. We then have Floofy's Adventure, followed by Foamsters. Foamsters being like a kind of like a paintball slash foam not battle royale, like multiplayer games. So like your various different sort of shooter modes that you would see in things like Call of Duty, Capture the Flags, King of the Hills, all that sort of stuff can be found in here. But then I think there's also like a raid mode that is trophies tied to it that I think is what a lot of the DLC is for. We then have Foxyland twice, followed by Full Blast twice, Furwind, then we got a bit of Galgun, which is nice to see here, with 2 and Double Peace. Oh, and Gunvolt Burst, I missed that one right there. Genshin Impact, you've done a little bit of, you dabbled in it, you got 9 of the 104 trophies, followed by another breakthrough game here, we get to the top. Goat Sim, just the platinum in both of these, which is always nice to see. I'm seeing some beefy games just a bit below too. Only the one God of War here, but it is backed up by a platinum in Goosebumps at the Game, which is a point and click game based on, of course, the children's horror novels, which I really enjoyed as a kid. Some of them are pretty gruesome from memory too, like I think The Mask is a really good Goosebumps one from memory. We then have the Gran Turismo and Grand Theft Auto series here back to back. No completions in any of these, not massively surprising given that some of these do have unobtainable trophies, as you can see. Gran Turismo 5 and Sport both do, as well as the PS3 version of GTA 5. We then have Gravity Duck twice, followed by Grid, Grid 2, and Grid Autosport. Guess the Flag is next. Little simple game where you guess different nationalities' flags. I'd probably actually really enjoy that, to be honest. I do really enjoy that kind of thing. There was a mode in Fears to Fathom episode 3, which I completed recently, that was just guess a bunch of flags, and one of the achievements was to do 7 in a row, and I got way too addicted to that. That was really, really fun. We then have Hamster's Playground starting the H's, followed by Hard Cube, Atsu Miku Project Diva F, F Second Diva X, followed by Headbangers Royale. We do have the PS4 version of that. However, we do not have the PS5 version. That's been added to the list but not been worked on just yet. Looks like, is it potentially bugged? Is it potentially a bug trophy? Because the PS4 version's at 11%, but the PS5 version is at 4%. It's an ultra rare, which makes me think there might be some buggy trophies, because typically the PS4 version will be rarer than the PS5 version for most games. Helix Jumper's next, followed by Here They Lie and the HIQ Ace series, just some little simple puzzle sliders. I love me some 100%s, of course, so it is nice seeing 4 back to back to back to back. We then have Hob, followed by Hole.io. Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop. That is an amazing name, and I'm curious what it is. I assume it's probably a beat 'em up, just sort of based on the graphic art style of the thumbnail of it. We then have the Hyper Dimension series here, with what I believe is the full series completion, which is really cool. We have Noir, Goddess Black Heart, Neptunia, Neptunia Mark II, Neptunia PP, Rebirth 1, Rebirth 2, Rebirth 3, V Generation, U Action Unleashed, and Neptunia Victory, which is really cool to see. Some of these are quite long completions, as you can see with Mullet getting the first one in 3 years and 6 months, and a couple of the other ones also taking multiple years. In fact, Neptunia Victory is the one that took the longest, with 4 years and 4 months. Idle Devils is next, followed by Ikea. Ikea was an interesting one. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. This is a little indie horror game that I've also done, where you're sort of playing around in a little village where there's a curse that has gripped the place. Nothing particularly special, to be honest. Fairly linear, fairly straightforward. It's kind of on rails experience, but a unique setting, and that's something that I really liked about it. It very much went hard on the whole grudge thing by the thumbnail, as you can see there. Kind of not really an aspect of the game at all, but still very good. We then have another completion here with the Infamous completion here, Infamous 2 and Festival of Blood. Neither of the PS4 generations games though, which is interesting to see. Explosion is next, followed by, I knew there was a cricket game in here somewhere, International Cricket 2010. You don't have the Platinum though, so that's a plot twist. I could have sworn that you had some cricket completions, but you have this one here. Maybe I saw you talking about this one in the Discord in 2024 at some point. We then have Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Listen, probably. We then have Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, followed by Jak 2. Always nice to see Jak 2 not just kind of auto-popped with the developer menu. Jigsaw Abundance is followed by Johnny Trigger. We then have a couple of dabbled in games with Jump Force, Kays and the Wild Masks, which is kind of a little platformer that I've heard relatively good things about, actually. And then Kiwi, which is a co-op puzzle game that, again, I've heard very, very good things about. We then have, ooh, this is a good completion. I think I know what your thumbnail's going to be. We then have the Kingdom Hearts games here, with only 2 of them not 100%ed. Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep. That is one of the 2 you've obviously not completed. 358-2 Days, Birth by Sleep, Dreamed Up Distance 2, 3, only the Platinum 4-3, you haven't done the DLC, Melody of Memory, and Rechain of Memories. Oh, and Recoded at the end here. That's a very, very impressive 100% right there for most of the series. It'd be nice to see you clean up the others, just so we've got the full sweep here, but it's very impressive all the same, mate. I do like to see this quite a bit. We then have Kitaria Fables, followed by Knockout City. This is another one of those, I guess, Battle Royale multiplayer games that is now very much unobtainable. I think all of the trophies, are unobtainable. This was an interesting one though, because they adopted kind of like a dodgeball sort of system to it, which was kind of cool. We then have Crinkle Crusher, followed by Cuckoo's Lost Pets, Quaden Nazuma Mana Story, bit of Labyrinth of Life. We then have a pair of learning games here with Learn Hiragana and Learn Katakana. Legend of the Skyfish is next, followed by Legends of Talia Arcadia. These are another pair where I have no idea what these are. We then have, actually, this is an impressive series of completions here with all of the 100% that I'm seeing. The Lego games. We've got Lego Batman 2, Lego Batman 3, Lego Brawls, that weird, not free to play, but probably should have been free to play brawling game. It was kind of a, like a Super Smash Bros. Clone that was not good. And the trophies only take, as you can see, 30 minutes. I think it took me less. I think I did it in about 15 minutes. So it's a very simple game. Lego Undercover, followed by both Harry Potter games, not the PS5 version though. Lego Indiana Jones 2, followed by Lego World. Legends of Chima, Marvel Superheroes 1 and 2. Lego Avengers, the video game 2. The video game on the Vita as well, which is cool to see. I always like to see that as, oh no, sorry, it's Lego Ninjago, the video game there. I can't read apparently. Lego Ninjago Nindroids, which I think is the Ninja Lego that you see from time to time. I think it's a fairly popular series in there. We then have Pirates of the Caribbean, followed by Shadows of the Ronin. There's some Star Wars here with Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars, The Force Awakens. No Skywalker Saga. I do not blame you in the slightest. I hated that personally. Lego The Hobbit, followed by The Incredibles, and to round it all off, Lord of the Rings. We then have Lemmings Touch, followed by Lightning Returns Final Fantasy. I think the Lego series here is by far my favorite, and clearly yours as well. I think that is a really cool commitment to that series. So kudos to you, Mullet. That's really, really cool. We then have Linkopix Deluxe, followed by Little Adventure on the Prairie, a classic easy peasy game. I'll be interested to see if we get some Mr. Misagi in here. I feel like Mullet, you have a chance to have Mr. Misagi potentially. We then have Little Noah Scion of Paradise, followed by the Little Big Planets. Of course, tragically, these are unobtainable due to the server closures. Lollipop Massacre is another one I love to see here. I do love to see that 100% actually. Followed by Lost Epic, a double stack of Man Eater, Mary Skelter Finale, followed by the Platinum in Mary Skelter Nightmares, a double stack in McPixel here, which seems to have not taken you too long at a day and 20 hours. We then have Mega Dimension Neptunia 7, followed by Mega Tagmention Blanc plus Neptune versus Zombies. Some of these games have names that hurt my brain. We then have Memory Lane, followed by, tragically, Midnight Club Los Angeles. That one hurts. That one hurts to see there. Fantastic game. Mighty Number 9, this was supposed to be like a Mega Man game that turned out to be super, super disappointing from memory. Miko Mole is followed by a lot of Minecraft here. It looks like you've not done the last DLC release for set 2 of Minecraft. I'm sure there probably is a world for that if you did want to get it done. It looks like you've potentially done that for the first stack there. Smashing that out in 4 days, I think, would be fairly impossible to do legit without using a realm. But yep, you've got the last DLC to still do. Mini Madness is another one that's on the list but doesn't have any trophies. In fact, we've got Mistover just below as well. Minute is here in 2024, which I think is when we did that for Plat Club. I actually just found out, funny enough, about Minute. There's a sequel. There's like a little Mario Kart-esque sequel for Minute. Minute like mini car racing or something like that. I bought it on Steam the other day. I very much plan to do a video on it because Minute is awesome. I love Minute. In fact, I might do a video on Minute as well. I should see if it's on sale. because I imagine it's probably dirt cheap. I mean, it's an amazing game. You have 60 seconds, believe it or not, to progress as far as you can in a level. When you die, you go back to the very start, but you keep all of the items you've got or any of the shortcuts you may have unlocked. So within that minute, you're progressing further and further every single time. I love that game so much. We then have Mirror's Edge Catalyst. You've hopped on around the time that there was the server closures, and I'm going to assume that you did the multiplayer trophies that are now unobtainable. Mob Control is next, followed by Mod Races, tragically another unobtainable, Mo Chronicle, and Monopoly Streets. This is another one here, which I didn't know there was a multiplayer Monopoly game on the PS3. That's interesting. I thought a lot of them came later on the PS4 and the PS5. We then have Monster Menu, the Scavenger's Cookbook, followed by quite a bit of Mortal Kombat here with the PS3 one, sadly unobtainable, Mortal Kombat 1 on the PS5, 11, and DC Universe, which is a super rare one here, at a 0.46%. And to round it out, we have two games here with Mortal Kombat X on the PS4 and the Arcade Collection on the PS3, which is a really nice 100% to see there. We then have the MotoGP series here. I don't believe you've played any of them. In fact, no, you haven't. They're all at 0%. So we're going to move on these, but they are very good racing games that I think are fairly difficult. Mugen Souls, cool one to see here. In fact, I think this is one of your rarest platinum trophies at a 0.91%. So congratulations there, Mullet. That's a really cool one. And then there's, of course, Mugen Souls Z, followed by Multiverse, which was DC's kind of weird Mario Party, like beat 'em up sort of thing that I believe didn't do particularly well. We then have the My Name is Mayo series, including the recently released Re-Mayo, which, you know, I love to see that. This is, of course, a beautiful series here, absolutely gorgeous. You love to see these platinum trophies. You love to see all the stacks for them. I don't know if 2 or 3 have stacks. I know the first game does, and you've got those. I'm not entirely sure about 2 and 3. And then, of course, Re-Mayo on the PS4. I assume there's also a PS5 stack for this one, but I love to see these right here. Need for Speed is next. In fact, this might be my new favorite series completion on your account here. We have Need for Speed 2014, extremely hard DLC trophies, as you can see, 23% for the platinum and 0.18% for the 100%. These DLC trophies are crazy, so I completely understand this, but the platinum is still very impressive. Heat, I really liked Heat as a game. I did. I really like this one. I like the mechanic of the day-night system affecting the different currencies or reputations that you earn. This is a good one. I need to play Unbound at some point. Hot Pursuit Remastered and Payback, these are another two really cool ones here. Sort of cops versus robbers sort of style to them. I'm hoping the Runner's on here. I'm really hoping you've got the Runs Platinum on here. We then have Unbound, which is the most recent one, and I've heard it's pretty good. The whole like street art graffiti style of things a bit of an odd choice, but otherwise I've heard that the game is relatively good. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, there's the base game for the remaster above, followed by Most Wanted. This is the Vita version and the PS3 version, not the PS5 one. I can see the run. That makes me so happy to see. That game is so underrated. We then have Rivals twice, followed by Shift 2, The Run. The Run is such a unique Need for Speed because it's very different from everything else. It's very story driven. You are, believe it or not, on the run across America, doing a series of events as you're driving across the country. And a lot of the races are more based around set pieces than anything else. It's short. You can beat that game in about 2 hours. I'm not even kidding there. But it was great. Sadly, a lot of these older PS3 Need for Speeds are very much unobtainable now, and that does make me the big sad. We then have Necopara Volume 1, followed by Neptunia Virtual Stars. Neptunia Sisters vs. Sister is only at 8% completion here, followed by New Super Lucky's Tale. Ni no Kuni, this is like an RPG version of Pokemon, sort of, where you take on various monsters. I played a little bit of Ni no Kuni actually. I can say that I've experienced it. The start of this game is very dark. It is very, very grim. Nitro Plus, Blasters, Heroine's Infinite Duel is followed by Odin Sphere, Left Fraser. Onrush at 100% always nice to see, as that is unobtainable. And we round out the O's with Operation Abyss, New Tokyo Legacy. We then start the P's with Pac-Man Championship Edition, followed by Champion Edition DX Plus. A bit of Pac-Man Museum. I'm sure M from the Discord will really appreciate seeing these on the list. We then have some Paint Park Plus, followed by Paper IO 2. A bit of Paraiso Islands, a really cool one to see here. You smash that out in a week and a day. We then have a bit of golf with PGA Tour 2021. Just shy of being being an ultra rare, followed by a bit of Phantom Breaker with Battlegrounds Overdrive and Omnia. We then have a massive amount of pick-a-picks here with Classic twice, Classic 2, Color, Color 2, and Pieces twice as well. Some of these 100%s and some of them not. I am curious, Mullet, if this is a series that you do plan on cleaning up at some point. Picto Quest is next, followed by a tiny bit of Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. These Plants vs. Zombies games were actually really, really good. It's a shame that the second one is very unobtainable now. We then have Pretty Girls Mahjong, followed by Punchline, a bit of Puro Puo with Tetris and Tetris 2. Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey is followed by Puzzle Drop Carnival. I told you, Mullet loves his puzzle games, which is a cool one to see. Rabisco is followed by another breakthrough game here with racing. Some Radical Rex, followed by Radical Fighters. This looks like it's an entirely unobtainable game there, so that is a cool one that you did get at some point earlier this year. This must have become unobtainable. That's interesting. I wonder if that one was server closures or just a buggy patch. Rage was an interesting one. It was kind of a more realistic graphic-based Borderlands-y sort of style of game that just never really picked up, and I think was kind of buggy from memory. We then have Rainbow Snake, followed by Rayman Legends and Origins. I think Legends is the really long grindy one to do, but I'm not entirely sure. Realm Royale, Battle Royale game, very unobtainable now. Servers have been closed for a little bit. The Ride series is here with Ride, Ride 2, Ride 3, Ride 4. You dabbled a little bit in these, didn't get particularly far in terms of trophy progression, but it is cool to see these all represented on the list. Ridge Racer Unbounded is next, followed by Rise of the Slime, Road Bustle Roadblocks, which recently came to the PlayStation, I believe, like a year ago. Rocket League, followed by Rugby League Live. I have a soft spot for these as a diehard West Tigers fan, tragically. I'm curious, Mullet, which team in the NRL do you support? But you did get most of the trophies here in the first one on the PS3, not so much the others. Rugby League Live on the PS2, the one with Steve Price on the front cover, was awesome. I played that game so much as a kid, so it is cool to see these. I remember, not on the account I trophy hunted on, but I remember playing a little bit of Rugby League Live 3 on the PS4 and enjoying it, and I think there is a Live 4 as well, but definitely by the time these ones came around, it started to feel like the engine it was being built on was very old. Rumbleverse is next. I think I actually helped you with a trophy in Rumbleverse of all things. This was a very fun battle royale that was kind of more melee based. I think I helped you get the trophy for winning from memory. I know it helped you with something with this game. We then have Rush Hour Deluxe, followed by Saints Row with 4, Get Out of Hell, and 3. No 2022 reboot, I think it was. We then have some Sekiro Succubus with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a lot of succubi. We then have Sekiro Swim Club, followed by Sega Mega Drive. These are the little collections of games that featured on the Sega at various different points. We then have the Senran series here. I'm sure I'm butchering all of these names. So I do apologize for that, guys. But we do have Senran Kagura Bon Appetit, Kagura Burst Re-Renewal, Kagura Estival Versus, Shinova Versus, and Peach Beach Splash. That's the best name of the entire series. Shining Resonance Reframe is followed by Skate 3, is followed by Slime Rancher. This is another one here, funny enough, I would suggest cleaning up at some point. Slime's Journeys, followed by Slide, is followed by Snake Boat. We then have Song of Memories with only the one trophy. I think it's a VR game, but I'm not actually, no, it can't be a VR game. It's going to be some sort of RPG. Songbird Symphony is followed by quite a few Sonic games here. Actually, these are really cool to see too. You've got some really cool series completions here, Mullet. I really like the way you handle series. But we have Sonic All-Stars Racing, which I think is the only one I'm seeing here that is incomplete. You got about half the trophies here. I know this one is a very difficult one at 1.47%. Juicy Ultra Rare right there. Sega All-Stars Racing, CD Forces, Generation Mania, Origins, The Fighters, The Hedgehog 1, 2, 4 Part 1, and 4 Part 2. Is there a Part 3? I am curious if this one did get a Part 3. And then we round off the entire thing with Sonic Unleashed. Sorcery Sega Curse of the Great Curry God, that's a name and a half. That is an odd one right there. Followed by Soul Calibur 5, a little bit of Sound Shapes, a little bit of South Park with the Stick of Truth, No Fractured Butthole, or Snow Day. Split Second is next, followed by nothing in SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. I'm still very salty with that game, taking the platinum away from me by glitching out on the last collectible trophy of the game that I had. I got the golden spatula glitch that is sadly well known glitch, that one, and tragically it did get the better of me as well. Spyro with the full trilogy here. You love to see these. This is another trilogy I really need to do at some point. Maybe I'll do 100% reviews on these games. Square Boy vs. Bullies is followed by only 2 Star Wars games here. Fallen Order 0%, another one I would really recommend going back and doing at some point, Mullet. Really, really enjoyable one right there. And then we also have Star Wars Races Revenge, which I think you did for the Gauntlet competition last year. This is actually a fairly tricky completion, so I do really like to see it there, mate. Congratulations. Steins Gate is next, followed by Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Street Racer Underground, little racing game, followed by Streets of Rage. Super Hang-On is a MX racing game, followed by Super Neptunia RPG, Super Street Fighter 4. That's an insane platinum trophy there. Congratulations, Mullet. That's a really, really cool one to see there with a... that one, I assume you probably started that way back before you're even really into trophy hunting. I assume that's probably the missing timestamps there. For people who might not necessarily know, if you played on a PlayStation 3 back in the day, chances are you played it before ever connecting it to the internet. Didn't need an internet connection. That's the kind of joyous old days that we used to have as old-time gamers now, which would then mean that the games wouldn't, when you popped a trophy, they wouldn't timestamp because they weren't connected to a database to do so. So you would get missing timestamps if you ever went to a trophy tracking website. But I reckon that's what's happened here. I reckon you probably played this game years and years and years and years and years ago, probably around 2010, and then went back and cleaned it up in 2023. But that is an awesome one to see right there. Congratulations, my friend. Supercard Challenge is followed by Super Dimension Neptune. Sushi Break is little short, easy peasy that you smashed out, followed by Sword of Ellipsia. Moving into the T's, we've got Tabletop Racing World Tour. This is another weird one that I strangely want to play at some point. Taiko no Tatsujin Drum Sessions, followed by Tamarin, is followed by Team Sonic Racing. Only a little bit of this one as well, so it looks like your Sonic completions, everything that doesn't involve Sonic and driving. We then have quite a lot of Tekken here, with Tekken 6, Tekken 7, Tekken 8, Tournament 2, Tournament Prologue, Tournament HD, some very good completions right here, especially Tag Tournament 2. I believe, is the hardest of the lot. Then we have Terra, Test Drive Unlimited 2, unobtainable due to server closures. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. That came out last year, and I've not heard good things about that test drive game, which is a shame because the series hadn't really seen anything in quite some time. The Crew is next, followed by The Crew 2. The Crew obviously having unobtainable trophies due to licensing not being renewed with some of the various different license plates. The First Ascendant is next. This was a weird multiplayer game that came out last year. I remember looking at it a little bit. You did auto pop the PS5 version. The golf club's an awesome one to see here, actually. I didn't know that it had unobtainable trophies though. That's interesting. But that's a very cool one there, because I think I remember watching a Snickle video on this years ago on one of his weekly updates. Shout out to Snickle. Snickle's videos are awesome. But I remember, I think there's a trophy for this where you need to get like $1 billion or something. And the way to do it is you get a bunch of people who all have a couple like 100 million each, and you just kind of pull it together and just try and do a bit of an honesty system where everyone gives all their money to one person who'll then give it all to the next, who'll give it to the next, and just no one be a dick about it. But shout out to Snickle and shout out to the Golf Club of all games. I didn't know there was a Golf Club 2 actually. That's a plot twist right there. We then have the Outbound Ghost, followed by the Revenge of Shinobi. A little bit of Sims here with Tinker Racers, Tiny Hands Adventure, Tokyo Run, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Pro Skater 5, not a great game. I remember that one annoying quite a few people when it came out. We then have Total Jigsaw, followed by Toho Double Forces and Toho Genso Rondo, and Burst Battle. Can't forget Burst Battle. We then have 2 Toy Story games here with 3 and Mania, followed by another breakthrough game here with the track version. As you can see, a lot of these are based around like athletics carnivals. We then have Train Sim. Ooh, you were brave. You were brave. You went for Train Sim here with a lot of trophies in these lists. A lot of these are looking like Steam achievement lists right here. So I will be curious to see if you ever actually go for these ones in depth and how they actually are to do. You have my luck with them, because there are some, I mean, some of these are obviously unobtainable. I assumed you did DLCs, being like buggy on launch, I'm going to assume, based on how low these rarities are. But if you ever go for the platinums in the first one and the second one, I would love to see how you go with it, mate. Good luck. We then have Triforce, followed by Trillion God of Destruction, Trinity Universe, and Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I think there's a second Turnip Boy game as well, but I do want to try Commits Tax Evasion, the video game, not the real thing. Government, please don't come and arrest me. I wouldn't do very good in jail, nor would I have any turnips. But impressive completion here at 23 hours. Love to see that. Umihara Kawase Bazooka is next. That's a name and a half. Followed by Undertale. Classic Undertale is. We have Uno twice, followed by Unreal Tournament 3. I thought that was Blood Bowl for the second based on that. And I was like, wait, that shouldn't be in the U's. But no, it's Unreal Tournament, which is really impressive completion there, followed by Untitled Goose Game, Welcome Park, Welcome to the World ZJ the Ball. Oh, it's a ZJ the Ball game. I forgot about ZJ the Ball. ZJ the Ball, I believe, was a series of games made by like some Christian people, like a church group, and they just made a whole bunch of like click a button, earn all the trophies, easy peasy, like shovelware games. As you can see, 34 seconds, but I think they made an absolute stack of them before randomly stopping. We then have West Escape, followed by Wobbly Life. Mate, my life's a wobbly life sometimes. Wonder Boy Asher in Monster World, followed by World Quiz. Worm War, followed by Worms to Armageddon. I love Worms. We're about to get into the WWE games. I've been waiting for these to see how you went with these. Wreckfest, I love Wreckfest. I've gone on these videos, these Plat'n videos many times to say that I love Wreckfest. Maybe I'll do a like top 5 racing games I really liked as one of the top 5s that I'll do at some point. WWE. We have a lot of them. Not too many platinums here. We got 12. We have 22. 22 was fun. I hated whatever that side mode was that you spend most of your time in. We had to do like 500 matches or something ridiculous. That sucked. But the rest of 2022 was really fun. That, to me, 2022 was a return to form. The 2023 and 4 and I think 5 now even have built on, so it is cool to see these here. 2022, another one of the platinums that I think is one of your more impressive ones on the list, mate. You've got quite a few impressive ones. That's just one that I really like there. We then have WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. This was your first platinum trophy 15 years ago. Followed by SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, unobtainable trophies. As you can see by all of these icons, all of the servers closed. The devs of this game, 2K, little bit scummy with their multiplayer practices. They wait a year and they shut it down for the next one. We then have Xenon Racer, followed by Xenon Valkyrie Plus. Yoku's Island Express is followed by Yonder. Ukulele, really fun little platformers here with the first game and the Impossible Lair. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Master Duel, dabbled a little bit in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've never been really big on Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games, but as a kid I did really enjoy the cards. We then have a lot of Zippy in the Circle, a lot of ZJ in the Ball. I knew there'd be some ZJ coming up. And then we have Project Diva, the Future Tone, and a game that's name is entirely in Japanese to finish the list. So I'm not even going to try and say that one. But Mullet, you have a fantastic list, mate. I really like a lot of what I've seen here. A lot of variety, a lot of, like I said at the start, puzzle games, some races, and then some like anime fighting games and stuff, which is really cool to see. Especially because those sort of do very heavily differ from my own preferences. So it's always nice to see how other people game compared to me. That was kind of the point of this entire series. But thank you so much for letting me look through your list. It is a fantastic one. If you'd like your own list done at some point, do put it in the comments below or join the Discord Hunters Haven. There is a submission place there where you can see where you are on the list. Of course, if you do become a channel member as well for $1, I think, you can get your list also fast-tracked to the top. That is one of the perks of being a member and giving me all of the monies, so I don't have to turn to OnlyFans. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. Do leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. That is YouTube's 100%. You will have successfully completed YouTube, and as always, happy hunting.